Come on, man. What are we talking about?
Right and wrong.
Come on, man. What are we talking about?
Right and wrong.
Corn Pop was a bad dude.
Whoa.
Corn Pop was a bad dude.
Whoa.
Come on, man. What are we talking about?
Right and wrong.
Come on, man. What are we talking about?
Right and wrong.
Welcome to Right and Wrong. This is the show where we try to wake up the woke by talking common sense about the issues of the day. I'm your host, Brian Ruka, and with me as always over there is my man and yours, producer Juice. He is known out on the interwebs as the Truth Box because he loves to spit the truth all day, every day. So my man, Truth Box, what is going on tonight, brother? How you doing?
Doing great, my friend. How are you?
I love it.
How are you?
Great. You seem pretty fired up.
Yeah, I'm excited about the show. Don't have a ton to
Love it.
say now, but I absolutely will in a minute.
I love it. All right, cool. Well, as you guys probably know, I am a sucker for a good monologue. Sorry, not a good monologue, not a good start to this one, but I'm a sucker for a good homily at church. So I heard a great one this past week, and we're pretty fortunate enough to be at a great church with a great parish and a great priest where we live. And then on the second side of things, where we go and visit my father-in-law down the old Cape Cod, there's a great church right there too. So when we go visit him, when we stay for the weekend, we like to go to that one as well. And the priests at both places are awesome. You get a good showing at both spots. And the one down the Cape, this guy, he's great. So he made an awesome point that really spoke to me. And I think that's a key in like a great homily or for anybody who's doing public speaking, is to really connect with your audience and to touch people, on an individual level, make them feel like you're talking specifically to them. And that's kind of what happened with this one for me. So the theme of it was about living a good Catholic life and making that example, being that example, that light on a shining hill. So he kind of went down that road, and it made me think because he touched on the aspects of people feeling like they need to go tell everybody and talk about it a lot. And that's how I feel. I like to talk about my return to Catholicism and my return to faith on this show, but I also struggle with the fact that I don't want to sound like a Catholic Church infomercial at times either. And it's always hard to try to spread the message without coming across as like preachy and too, church centric. And I personally struggle with that. It's hard to toe that line, if you will. So the point that the priest was making was that we really shouldn't have to use our words. We shouldn't have to preach to people. We should be able to affect people and to make a difference just by living a good Catholic life on our own. And that's the hard part. I know it's hard for me. I personally think it's kind of easy to sit here in front of a microphone and talk about this stuff. I understand not everybody thinks that that's pretty easy, but for me, it's not that hard of a thing to do. The hard part is living my life according to what I say here and what I know is right. And I'm sure that's hard for all of us. So it really spoke because I like to talk here on the podcast. I like to try to, evangelize and talk about the positives that come from going to church and being involved in your community, your church community. And I'd like to improve on the showing it aspect of it. And the priest's point that he made was that it should be super obvious to people if they look at you from the outside in and realize, oh, why is this person, so happy? Why does it seem like things are going well for them? Why are they in a good mood all the time when I see them? And they should be able to come to the conclusion that, oh, wow, he's living by God's message. He's living by God's values, and he's oriented his life to go that way. So that's something I want to personally work on. And yeah, I don't know. It spoke to me, so I thought I'd share it with you guys, and maybe that will touch somebody else as well. So, with that being said, I do think it's about time we welcome in our good friend Mr. Ric Flair, because guess what? It is showtime, baby. Woo!
Showtime! Woo! Woo!
Woo! Woo! Oh yeah.
Woo!
Hell yeah. So I don't know. What do you think, Juice?
I
Evangelize through actions?
love it. I like everything you said, and yeah, it is hard not to say. It's easier to say a value than do it.
Absolutely.
I have a quick
And
question before we get started into that, unless
yeah,
you're still finishing this thought. This is
no, that
gonna
was it.
take us off
Go for
topic.
it.
That behind you there, is that a thing of like CDs that you can, CDs you burn? Do you see this in
Right over here.
rewritable CDRs? Yeah.
No, I wish it was.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool.
I like it.
No, it's a lot of office junk that my brother-in-law, I don't even know how to describe it. It feels so wordy, but my sister-in-law's husband. What would you
Yeah.
refer to
Not
that? Just a
yeah,
yeah,
I
you know what I
say
mean? Essentially,
brother-in-law.
he's a brother-in-law.
And if someone digs deeper, it's like, oh, not the, you know, the one that married
Exactly.
in or
But
whatever. I
he's a
don't know.
good dude. He's on our team. He's on the right. So he just had some extra material cleaning out a workspace. So it's notepads,
Oh, you
staples.
remember that? You remember those?
Oh yeah, I know exactly
Like
what you're
making a
talking
mixed
about.
CD? Like,
Yeah, man. Remember that big book I used to have in the car? The CD booklet?
mostly trash. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of trash. That's
But
good
yeah,
stuff.
keep it moving.
All right, cool. So right off the bat, I, I think the biggest story for me this week, we're going to spend a lot of time on this one. So buckle up. But it's been 30 years and I finally watched Schindler's List. I don't know what took me. Well, I do know what took me so long. It's not a fun, heartwarming movie, obviously. It's not something you'd be excited to be like, oh, let's watch Schindler's List tonight. It's about 3 hours long, 3 hours or 15 minutes long. And it literally covers one of the most horrific events in human history. So it's not going to be a fun watch. But I consider myself to be a film buff. I do love great cinema and great movies. So it has been on my radar for a while and finally pulled the trigger just the other day. And me and Ashley watched it. So, heart wrenching is probably an understatement. I know Ashley kept saying the whole time, I can't believe that this actually happened. And then if you really think about it, it's really not all that long ago that this happened. And it's crazy. And one of the things that stuck out to me was the fact that the people that this was happening to, at least I don't know if they did this by design in the movie, but it's like every step of the way, the Jews in the movie were like almost talking themselves into being like, oh, well, if we just comply with this request, then, that's it. That's it. And goes from like, you know, moving them from their homes to like the ghetto area that they called it. Like, and oh, if we just do this and we have to go stay in an apartment with 3 other families, oh, this sucks, but this is the worst it's gonna be. Then from there into like a camp, and from there moved to Auschwitz. It's wild, um, and just to see that progression, but to also understand that mindset of like the group think where it comes in of like you just want to think the best of it, almost like you want to think of like, okay, if we just do this and this, we'll live at least. And that wasn't the case, unfortunately. But I can understand how people would develop that mindset. So, um, before we go any further, actually, Juice, have you seen the film before? Are you familiar with it? What's your thoughts on it?
I have, but I'm due for a rewatch. It was probably 20 years ago.
Okay.
But yeah, I have, but I'd watch it again.
I got you.
But it's not one you're gonna watch 10 times, you know?
No, not at all. It's like the same thing I was just describing. You're not gonna be like, "Whoa, honey, let's strap up and watch this tonight." Like
Yeah, and some people
you're
like
gonna
you
choose
would
something
never
else.
you would never call it your favorite movie, but you might call it one of the best, films ever made.
Yeah,
You know what I
impactful.
mean? But yeah, but you're not gonna, you know,
Yeah. No, I know 100% what you mean.
like I'll
So
watch It's a Wonderful Life in the summer, you know what I mean?
yeah.
But I'm not just ripping out Schindler's List every year.
Yeah. Well, Wonderful Life, it makes you feel great at the end, right? Where this like it ultimately was a powerful thing that Oscar Schindler did and saved people, but it still doesn't make you feel happy at the end. It's still horrific. So it's tough. Okay. So the most famous scene in the movie, I think, it's a scene I was familiar with before having watched the film, is the red coat girl. Like, so I'm sure, again, I'm sorry. I'm sure most of you already know. I'm not spoiling anything, but the movie's in black and white the whole time. And it's a pivotal moment. We're going to show you two different scenes, but my man over there, Juice, kind of spliced them together. So
Poorly, just put them together.
yeah, put them together for us.
So
So
good thing you called that out because it's like one after another, but it's kind of
yeah,
obvious.
so these are two different points in the movie, spread out, but it's the same person that is the focus of it. It's the girl in the red coat. So I guess let's watch the scene and then we'll kind of break it down afterwards and tie it into what I want to talk about that is a current issue. So without further ado, you want to give that to us, Juice?
The party's over, Oscar. They're closing us down, sending everybody to Auschwitz.
What?
I don't know. As soon as I can arrange the shipment, maybe 30, 40 days. That would be fun.
Dude, I'm glitch city yet again. You can hear me, Juice?
Yeah.
All right. I'll be right back. I do not know what is happening with my technology, guys. Terrible. Well,
Either way, you're back.
we saw the scene. You guys saw what was happening. And like I said, it's a pivotal moment in the movie because at the beginning there, it's Schindler is watching this horrific display of just straight up murder and rounding up of the Jews in the town that he's in, and he's on horseback with his mistress and just enjoying his life, and he's overlooking this awfulness that's happening below him, and he sees the girl catches his eye, and that's like the cinematography of it that is done by design by Spielberg, where the whole film is in black and white, and this girl stands out because she's rocking the red jacket, and um you know the Schindler character is just he's horrified watching it. They don't want to see it, and then the back half of it is her going past her dead body, and it's just you see his face, the look of horror and shock on his face, and it personalized it. It made it real. You got something?
No, I was burping, but
Oh, my bad. I thought you were
Spielberg.
jumping in.
No, Spielberg. I'm muted. I went the opposite way. Spielberg kills it with that visual, though.
He really
It's
does,
incredible.
right?
Looks like we
It
got a
is.
bad version of or something like that. the coat doesn't stand out too much in the first scene. Could have been a little. I think we just have a bad cut of it, but I think it's obvious, right? People will see it.
Yeah, definitely. And
people probably already saw it just because you did
I think they have, so they know where we're coming from.
But yeah.
Right. So, but it's just like that's like the aha moment for Oscar Schindler in the movie, and obviously that personalizes the tragedy that's happening right in front of his eyes that forces him to do something about it and to want to do something about it. So I want that to be in your minds as we pull up another clip that happened this past week, and it's from Bill Maher, and he had some guests on his show, and they were talking abortion, and that's the issue that came up. And there's a lot of people on the right, at least, that are giving Bill Maher credit for being honest about what abortion is, and that's the last thing I want to do. I don't want to give him credit, but this to me reminds me of that moment in Schindler's List where so many people understand that there's 8 million babies a year that are killed by abortion in this country, and watch that and see it from afar. And I don't think a ton of people have it personalized for them the way that the girl with the red coat going past Schindler personalizes the Holocaust and what's really going on to him in that moment. So, I want you guys to see this clip to hear the way Bill Maher describes abortion. And it's my hope that anybody who might be on the fence about this issue, you'll have your red coat girl moment about abortion when you see this. So, Juice, you want to give us that one?
Europe, for example, by comparison, the 60 countries of Europe. Actually, there are many countries in Europe where it's completely illegal to have an abortion. Poland, Malta, places like Andorra, so, and if you look at Germany and France and countries like that, it can be 10, 12 weeks is the term limit that you're allowed to have an abortion legally. So America is not such an outlier. If it does go to the States, I think a lot of Americans on the left do think that this is somehow a really unique American problem or an issue that only pertains to them in terms of the legality of abortions. Actually, comparative to Europe, it's not massively dissimilar.
But the thing that's crazy is at a time when America is facing so many huge geopolitical threats, where there's a huge tech revolution going on, where the economy is faced with all kinds of challenges, the idea that you're fighting an election around this issue seems to be, just strange. Back to the 19th century.
Well, not if you believe it's murder. That's why I don't understand the 15-week thing. Or Trump's plan is, let's leave it to the states. You mean, so killing babies is okay in some states? Like, I can respect the absolutist position. I really can. I scold the left on when they say, oh, you know what? They just hate women, people who aren't pro-life, pro-choice. They don't hate women. They just made that up. They think it's murder. And it kind of is. I'm just okay with that. I am. I mean, there's 8 billion people in the world. I'm sorry, we won't miss you. That's my position on it. What?
That's quite harsh, Bill.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not
Is
sure
that not your position if you're pro-choice?
Isn't that mainly because you don't like children? I mean,
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
no. I mean, but if you said you're pro-choice. That's your position too.
That's ghastly. I can't believe that. And the audience awkwardly laughs. The guests on there awkwardly laugh. And it's just, that's insane to me that somebody would openly say that, talk like that. And that's a form of entertainment.
It's not giving them, they shouldn't be giving them props for being honest or whatever. I think it's way worse, right? That he knows it's murder and's like, I'm okay with it.
Yeah. It's
There's
borderline
too many
psychotic,
here.
right?
There's too many people here. We wouldn't miss 2 billion more. You wouldn't be missed. Speaking about people who wouldn't be missed, why doesn't he sign up?
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's crazy. I can see. I love it. I love that passion you got right there. It seems like it's really, really getting to you as you're talking about it. You're getting more pissed, right?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I don't know. To me, like I said, anybody who's on the fence, like I get it. Like I understand that. I think there's been so much propaganda about this, and coming from somebody who in my 20s used to say like, hey, you know what? I don't really agree with abortion. Like something about it in my gut, like didn't feel right, but I didn't know how to describe that. And I used to say, oh, I don't agree with it, but who am I to tell somebody else what they can and can't do? And that's a cop out, to be honest with you. It's not giving it the proper space in your head to actually think it out, because you can make that justification about anything, like, oh, I don't agree with murdering someone, but who am I to say, you can't go murder someone and steal their money from them? Like it's pretty immature and short-sighted. But it was a way to kind of at least voice that I personally wasn't okay with it, but I didn't know how to argue on the side of like nobody should be okay with it either. And I've come full circle on that, and that's where I am now. And I'm pretty sure you're in the same boat. Obviously, you always get to the point where like people talk about carve outs, special things, and uh, I have a hard time finding any carve out, because it's at that point where like almost what Maher said, if you believe it's murder, if that is a human life there, what's the difference between 2 weeks and 15 weeks? Whether the person was impregnated through a rape or what have you. Like it sucks. Like I don't want that upon anybody, but that baby conceived from rape is still a human life and a baby that had nothing to do with it. Just because their dad's a scumbag, put the rapist away for the rest of his life, castrate him, put him to death. I don't care. But it's just,
The woman's going to be traumatized either way, obviously.
yes.
And like maybe dealing, and then if you're like, a lot of people regret abortion, doesn't get talked about a ton, but that could add to the trauma. I know,
Absolutely.
like maybe find a little something. I don't even want to say like something good came out of this, but like killing the kid isn't the answer.
Exactly. And I think the arguments about like to protect the mom's life, I think those are disingenuous, because I don't think anybody, I don't think any of these laws anywhere that people complain about would ever like allow the mother to physically die just to have the baby. No, like they're going to protect the life of the person who's having the delivery, and they're not gonna have to make that choice one way or another. And they are going to prioritize the mother's health. Like I think it's a Trojan horse when they try to make it seem like, oh well, to protect the mom's health, you're not allowed to abort. Like it's just, to me, like we're getting hung up on words there. Like that's not an abortion, then that's just a a medical procedure to save a woman's life. Like they're not sitting there inducing labor and making you abort your baby. Like I don't know if I'm getting too in the weeds here, but you understand like kind of what I mean there. Like I think there's case by case situations, and they try to make it sound worst case scenario in order to justify the murder of children.
And if you gave them, fine, hey, I'll give you the rape one and the life of the mother bit, that's still like they wouldn't sign that.
Agreed. They wouldn't.
That's just
They
like
wouldn't.
an arguing point.
Yeah, exactly.
The birth control.
That's the Trojan horse, right?
I guess jump the shark, something like that.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I just, like I said, I watched that movie. It really stood out to me. In like, I feel like it's not apples to apples, but that Holocaust and what the Nazis did was genocide of an entire race of Jews. That was their attempt. That's what they were doing. And we do this. We've been doing this for a while now throughout the world with the genocide of babies. I know it's, like I said, it's not apples to apples, but these children are just being thrown away and discarded, and it's disgusting. It makes my stomach sick. It makes my stomach turn, and I hate the fact that we're forced to argue it on their terms in a weird roundabout way, instead of just simply calling it what Bill Maher called it, murder, and making them say, and I'm okay with it, because 9 out of 10 of them won't have the balls to say that. They'll try and couch it some way. And I say, let's not let them do that anymore. Let's call it what it is, at least, and see if they can watch the red coat girl walk down the street helpless and then go past them in a wheelbarrow into a pile of burning bodies afterwards, and see if they can stomach that. So I don't know. Think that one kind of made sense to me. All right. You got anything else to add to that topic, Juice Man?
Not to that, but do you have any, like, an announcement or anything?
Oh yeah. Thanks for the reminder. Well, first off, you guys should subscribe to the show, subscribe to our YouTube page, give us a like, throw a comment. We like to read those comments from time to time. So give us a comment. But if
sissies with the beards or whatever.
Yeah, a couple sissies with beards. Well, if you guys want to get us next week, we are planning our very first ever live stream episode next Thursday night at 9 p.m. And we hope you guys can all join us and comment in real time. You'll be able to see that stuff. So we're going to do Thursday night next week, 9 o'clock. We made sure there wasn't any Bruins games going on. So we expect to see Mr. XXL, and we expect to see the Jorsk Menzata in there. Maybe Bass can sneak away for a few minutes and join in too. So live stream. We need more than just 2 people, though, hopefully. So we're going to give it a shot, see how that goes. So next Thursday, 9 o'clock. Be there, please. Spread the word. And like and subscribe to the show. Okay. On the heels of that announcement, let's go to somebody that we have rightfully bashed plenty of times on this program, but we'll actually have to go to this person and, give him a little bit of a kudos for once. Mr. Senator John Fetterman from Pennsylvania, the hoodie man himself. He is, brain damaged, and maybe that did him some good in a roundabout way, because he has rebounded and something got turned around the right way. You're laughing, but
he's one. We did trash him. It's but props to him, and we'll see it speaking a lot better and making actual.
He is.
I think some of these
able to put a sentence together. He's kind of able to put a sentence together, but he's coming up on the right side of the Israel-Hamas war going on in the Middle East. And it's a topic that we haven't touched a ton on here, because it's we like to talk culture, religion, sports a little bit. So overseas diplomacy it's definitely not my strongest area of expertise. What?
Foreign policy.
Foreign policy. Yes.
Overseas diplomacy.
Overseas diplomacy. See, there you go. I'm telling you right there.
Nice.
But Juice is our overseas guy. He knows it all. But I know when it comes to this, and I did tell you guys that story when I kind of discussed it with my father-in-law that time. And I do believe that you can break down the Israel-Hamas war a lot simpler than people try to make it out to be. People always say when they're not sure, or they want to sound sophisticated, say, well, it's complicated. And I think a lot of people have kind of done that with this. And to me, it's not really complicated. Israel is a diplomatic partner. Hamas is a terrorist organization that rules in a place that's not an actual country. The people of Palestine, there is no Palestine. So there's Palestinian people, but they don't have a country. They're ruled by a terrorist organization, and their goal is the eradication of Jews. So it's not hard to pick a side on that in this battle, in this war. I understand innocent lives are being lost, and that's going to happen in all wars at any time. When you talk back in the Schindler's List days of World War II, I don't think too many people were worried about the civilian casualties in Germany when the Allies were taking out the Nazis. The United States dropped a bomb on Hiroshima and took out plenty of innocent civilians, and it sucks and it's horrible. That's war. That's the downfall of war, and it is something that's just unavoidable, and it needs to be done. And in my mind, when you have somebody like a country like Israel, who is a diplomatic partner in an actual functioning country against a bunch of ragtag terrorists, like, I'm sorry, it's not that difficult. And any ceasefire propositions that people talk about, Hamas rejects it. They don't want anything to do with it. The people of Palestine do not want a ceasefire. And I've heard once before, and I kind of tend to lean this way too, that if you ever get into a situation where you're not sure what side you fall on, it's okay. And I think it's even should be encouraged to kind of listen to who's on what sides of these things. Pay attention to the people that are pro one side, pro another side. And if you agree with people on one side of this argument, one side of this debate, 9 out of 10 times, chances are you're probably going to agree with their point of view on this one too. And if the people that you disagree with 9 out of 10 times for everything else they advocate for, chances are they're on the wrong side of this one too.
This one's a little different though. Getting back to
what's
Fetterman.
That? It is.
Fetterman.
No, it is absolutely, and that's where like 9 times out of 10 we're not on board with him. He's that one time on this one where he's actually speaking correctly, in my opinion.
The open,
the
open borders, defund the police, pro Hamas, like that goes together.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whatever.
When you see AOCs and Ilhan Omars of the world all in on something, that right there tells me that, okay, I'm against that. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be against whatever they're pushing. It's just, you don't have to think too much on that one. And that's why though, like the Fetterman thing is so impressive, and why I wanted to kind of talk about him this week is because him speaking like this and kind of coming out against the things that we're about to show you goes directly in the face of the rest of his political party right now, at least the prominent members of his political party. You know what I mean? What do you think? You want to give the first one where he kind of talks about what's going on with immigration right now?
You're going to go with that?
Yeah, let's go with that one.
Okay.
And, my wife, and she's here with me today. I mean, she was a former dreamer. I am an absolute supportive of immigration. And I think two things are true at the same time, that we can be very supportive of immigration and celebrate immigration, but we also need a more secure border. And I think we need to achieve that. Now,
is that like maybe the most like even-keeled, level-headed way to describe what's going on? Like, I'll give him kudos to that.
Yeah, that was common sense stuff. Like, put him up for president on that side. He sounds really like right. That was he sounded good. That was
he sounded better than what Biden sounds like.
Yeah,
right. But
sounds
you're right
than what I would say.
And he does sound better than he did in the past. And that like it's a little more real for him than it is for us. I'll admit, I can admit that. Like, he's literally married to a woman that he said was a dreamer. So that means she was here illegally and got a American citizenship through Barack Obama's DACA thing, right? That's the dreamers, he called them.
Or she married Fetterman, a citizen.
That's true. That could have been, but
That,
I feel like when he classified her, well, if he classified her as a dreamer, though, like I feel like
she was here first and then met him.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
That's true. Rules. I don't either. But that's what I mean, though. It's personalized for him with it being something like that. Yet he's still like, dude, we have to do something about the border here. Like, I'm sorry, and at some point, enough is enough here, and it kind of seems like he's there. So if you're the left and you're the Democrats and you're losing someone who's literally married to an illegal immigrant, now saying we need to shut this thing down, that's like a pretty bold statement. And again, I'll at least tip my cap and give him credit for having the balls to actually say that, because I think a lot of people agree with him on the left and feel that same way. I just don't think they have the stones to go against the loudest members of their caucus. What else do we have from Mr. Fetterman?
I don't know, but I just saying you're more dressed up than he is. You got a jacket on.
I got nice jacket. I know. I still don't agree with the shorts and hoodie.
Yeah, that's still absurd. It's like he's saying the right things.
He's saying the right things, but it's just like that to me. It's like you lose credibility by your appearance, the way you dress like that when you're in a professional setting like that. It's like the same thing as the grown adult who has purple hair. Like, it's like, I'm sorry, you're not a serious person if that's how you're showing up. So Fetterman still needs to work on his dress code. But what else did he have to say? We have something about what's going on.
Israel. Yeah.
Okay. That seems to be their strategy too, Senator, to hide behind.
Yeah, that is their strategy. And now even in hospitals or in the tunnels and everything. And we also can't forget about the hostages as well, too. They've been now in custody now since October 7th. So it's an awful situation. And you don't have to agree. You don't have to agree with every leader's views. But, we have an opportunity to stand with Israel in this situation. And that's what I've decided to do.
Again, it's a great way to look at it. And he's right. Like, we don't have to agree with everything Israel does. Like, Israel's its own country that's going to look out for themselves, rightfully so. In a strong Israel, a protected Israel, is what's best for America too. We don't need the Middle East being turned into a terrorist boot camp for people that are going to come like attack America or Western civilization on a whole. So it's a good thing for us.
Yeah, you need an ally.
Yes, absolutely.
And you can't be, like, it seems super obvious, but like funding both sides. Iran attacking Israel. Yeah. Like, you're aligned with Israel.
Yep.
Which is
a
lot better than the other options. And Biden would be like picking and choosing.
Yeah, he wants to have it both ways. Yeah. He unfroze that $2 billion worth of frozen assets from Iran, almost a year ago now, not quite a year.
He said, "Don't use it on weapons." Like,
yeah, okay.
And then the other stuff,
old man,
don't. He's just like,
don't. We got one word, one message for you: don't,
Jack.
Yeah, please. Yeah, exactly. And again, that's another thing. Like, tip your cap to Fetterman, and the last one here is.
I'm trying to have a click off.
Oh, sorry. My bad. So the last one here, though, is a clip that Fetterman retweeted out, and it was a great response. So I think we get the video of these jackasses that took over a Starbucks to try to protest for Palestine, and they look like a bunch of morons. Sorry. They look like a bunch of morons, and Fetterman rightfully called them out. And again, I think
I don't have it here. What did he say in the? Do you have what he?
Let's play. Yeah, let's play the clip, and I'll read what he said.
All right.
because it's pretty funny. Dude, that's hilarious. You see the barista come up, try to like talk to them.
Did you see at the beginning? You were looking down, but you've seen the video before. She's going to that. Come on, get in here. Like the people are like, chickened out and didn't come into the store. And it's just like her and the other. Come on, guys.
Starbucks. Like what?
You can't hide.
Absolute losers. So Fetterman retweeted that out, and he said, "I don't know who needs to hear this, but blocking a bridge or berating folks in Starbucks isn't righteous. It just makes you an asshole. Demand Hamas to send every hostage back home and surrender."
Dude, great week for Fetterman.
It really is, right? Like how awesome is that? He's right. It doesn't make you righteous at all. You're just the asshole that's walking around a Starbucks.
Yeah, people are just trying to buy $10 coffees, and you're
and you're yelling at them at that.
Like they did this to Google and stuff too. Their employees.
Yeah,
go to corporate. Like don't go to bother the local store.
Yeah, some stupid.
You know what I mean? Go out to Seattle or whatever, and yell at Starbucks. Actually, not the lady who's making $10 an hour. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and like
just
ruining everybody else's day.
Yeah, it's like, dude, that there's a special place for people like that. That like, it's nothing worse than just having your day disrupted when you're just trying to do like everyday types of things, like something like that, like just trying to grab your coffee, or like the jackasses that block the bridge, right? Golden Gate Bridge, and all over the place. They're doing it everywhere, but.
It's like more and more clips of like people just like dragging, not like
I love that,
but just dragging them and then putting them on the side of the road, put them on the curb, and then like letting some cars in.
And that's the thing though. It's like you're gonna ignore this stuff so much and refuse to enforce any punishment on these people that people are gonna get fed up and start dealing with it themselves, and then all of a sudden, somebody like us is going to be the asshole who gets locked up for assaulting this person or whatever, when it's like, no, these jackasses should be like, get the book thrown at them for, blocking traffic like that. It should be something that these people don't think twice about ever trying to do something like that again, because they know that they're going to get a slap on the wrist, and that's the reason they're doing it, But
going back to that real quickly. Going back to that, I don't have this video. I can't find it again, but I will find it and put it in the comments. But like there was it looked like at a community center, a class, 20 people around a guy teaching them how to say death to Israel, death to Israel or whatever. And he's like, it's all these just like Americans, mostly obviously white Americans, and they're like, and he's like, margarita bar, and he's like, okay, say Marg bar Israel, and they're all chanting it, right? And someone's like, oh, so what does that mean? And he's like, you could either say down with Israel or death to Israel. And then there's this guy in the background, like Tool, like it looks like Antifa N95 mask or whatever. And he's like, can we get he already knew these chants, right?
Yeah.
He's like, can we get a Magbar America, right? A Magbar America. And then he's like, yeah, we could. The teacher's like, we can throw one of those
in too. What's that?
Yeah,
and he's to America.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Magbar America or whatever.
Horrible.
He was like, hey, teach, can we get a Death to America
going in here? Don't forget about this one.
Yeah.
Oh. But it's like
clip somewhere.
Yeah, we'll throw it in the comments, maybe grab it for the live feed next week. Who knows? But how ridiculous is that? Those are people that like I haven't been in an actual fist fight since I was like 16 years old probably, but it's like people like that you're like, oh, I would love to get into a situation where where you just had to whack him in the face and be able to justify it and get away get away with it. Complete tools. I hate it. All right, you got anything else to add to Mr. Fetterman? We can't give him too much praise because I'm sure he's going to.
I know. Let's see what he does next week. And for all we know, he's voting on stuff that's terrible on the side, but he's saying the right things.
That's true. Yeah. So who knows? We can't pump him up too much. As you guys can see down below, live stream next week, episode number 80. It's going to be Thursday night, 9:00 Eastern Standard Time. We checked the schedule. The Boston Bruins will not be playing that night, so you're free to watch. And that's what it is. That's what we're going to be doing. Juice is going to be coming off his first win for his bags league that he's in. He's in a cornhole league where he's not off to the greatest start yet, but he's having lots of fun, right, buddy?
Yeah, cornhole was a bad dude. We need to get our first W.
So hopefully he'll be fresh off that and be all excited to tell us about it next week. All right, let's shift on into our Come On Man segment of the day. As you guys know, this is when we find a clip of somebody that's saying something, doing something so absurd, so ridiculous that even though we're going to pick them apart and make fun of them a little bit here, not much else we can say to them except, come on, man. So let's go to this story here and find another race baiting black versus white issue that the media is trying to gin everybody up into another race war, race hoax, race grievances, I guess, if you will. And I guess before we really get into the situation, give you a quick cliff notes that this young man was pulled over by police. There was a shootout that occurred, and the young black man was killed by the police. And before we show you the footage of what actually happened, let's see if we can go to his mom putting on. I hate to say it because it's a grieving mother, whether the person is a criminal or not. I understand the mother's probably going to have some strong emotions about it, but when you watch this video, it's hard to not think there's a little bit of over the top acting going on as well. Maybe I'm wrong, and I'm sorry if I am wrong, but this is kind of absurd. So, Juice, you want to give us mom's reaction to the media?
I love my son. He's a good kid. He played basketball. He always had something to do every day. He wake me up in the morning, and he fixed me food. He would show me how to cook his stuff, and he'd tell me, Mama, you eat something, and stuff like that. When I didn't feel good, he say exercise. He bought a Peloton bike for me to exercise. They just be outside trying to find their way. He had just bought his new car 3 days before that, and he was just riding around in his car. He said, Mom, I'm going for a ride. And they killed him. They killed him. They killed him. They killed him. I love my son. He's a
like I don't want to laugh like at that. It is bad. Like it's not funny at all. But again, I hate being that guy throwing the butt because anything you say before the butt doesn't matter. I guess that's the old cliche, and I guess it's true to an extent because this lady's out there in front of a gaggle of reporters, surrounded by people. And
are you gonna say the Peloton bike?
The Peloton.
So I thought you were saying. I thought you were gonna.
No,
you were going with it.
No,
I don't want to. This is sad. It is sad.
I'm just saying it's that was an over the top simplification of what happened there, and just trying to play the victim in this whole thing, and being disingenuous in mugging for the cameras. I'm sorry. Like, in either her or her family members should have the grace and dignity to not put her in front of a handful, of reporters for a press conference like that, because she's clearly not up for it. And I just think it's ridiculous to call our boy a good boy, and he does this for me, makes me food. Like, he was out on parole, like out on bail for felony gun charges to begin with, and then was stopped by the police and had a gun on him and refused to comply with what the officers were telling him, and opened fire on police, and then was shot and killed with the return fire. And they want to parade his mother out there and try to talk about him being a sweet boy who cooks for her and buys her the Plilaton, what you call it? The Pelton. The Pelton. And it's just not true. It's not. It's the same thing that happened with somebody like George Floyd, 4 years ago, where you have a career criminal who's high on fentanyl, and you turn him into a choir boy who all of a sudden his whole family's out there talking like this lady, and wanting to make them out to be this nice, positive, contributing member of society, when all the kid had to do was listen to what the police tell him and he wouldn't be dead. I'm sorry. It's not that hard. It's almost like the Israel-Palestine situation again, where everyone, well, it's difficult. You're not a black man, Brian Juice. You're not a black man who's been pulled over by police. No, I'm not. But I'm also someone who, when I have been pulled over by police, you just comply and listen. You've never gotten yourself out of something by arguing with the people who pull you over and have the power to arrest you and have a gun that they could pull out and use to protect themselves if they feel threatened by you. It's as simple as that. It doesn't have to be overcomplicated, yet we always try to make it overcomplicated. And I'm sorry, it's not. It's not that hard. Just listen to
what you want to say about, like, getting pulled over or whatever. I'm sure it happens more to black people than white people, etc. Right? But, like, whoever is shooting at the cops is getting shot back at,
exactly,
regardless of your race and how you got to this point, how you got to, But when you start shooting at the cops, regardless of your, green, blue, white, black.
Yep.
So, I mean, say what you will about the other piece. Oh, they were saying, maybe something suspicious. I don't know.
Yeah.
And maybe they do profile. Maybe they do profile. But in this case, okay, then they were kind of right. Right? He was a felon guns. And then he probably was like, I'm not getting pulled over. Now I have a gun on me and a felon. Like, I'm out.
Yeah, I'm screwed either way. So let me whatever. And again, it's like, that's why it feels like our society, our world right now is going in like loosening laws and rules and consequences for actions, at least from the left. It's like, that's all they're ever focused on, where it's like, I want to be the opposite way. I don't like, I'm sorry, depending on whatever I'll be honest, I don't know the details of the charges and that type of stuff, but like, if someone has like gun charge on them, I'm okay with no bail then, or whatever. I'd make it as discouraging as possible, to get corrective behavior, to make a better society for the rest of us around that are living there. So if I'd rather be as harsh on crime as we could be. I believe in broken window policing. Get people for littering, for loitering, get people for speeding more, for all of this stuff. You'd live in a better society. You'd live in a cleaner place. What if people were getting you like at Disney World? eat something, drop it, trash without putting in the barrel. Let's go. Huge fine, $500, something. I don't know. Like,
That's chump change down in Disney, $500. But one day with park hopper.
That's true. But it's a cleanly place because they care about.
Well, yeah. Walt doesn't play that.
Like our cities could look like that too if we actually cared about it, if we did something about it. We don't have to have train stations that smell like urine and have homeless people sleeping in there because we can do something about it. So I know it's kind of slightly off topic here, but people that are thugs out on gun charges, like, let's not give them a chance to be out on bail until we figure out what happens with this gun issue that you already have. So, all right. Do you guys want to see the actual footage from the police, the body camera footage? And we can kind of talk about it afterwards and see if this young man kind of got what he asked for, basically.
Don't roll the window up. Do not roll the window up. Do not. The doors now. Unlock the doors now. Open the door. Unlock the door now. Open the door now. Open the door now. Open the door now. Hey! Hey, St. Louis gun! Shots fired.
Wild. And that's it's in Chicago, and the guy's name's Dexter Reed. And I'm sorry, like, there's protests going on now. There's people trying to say, like, oh, he was pulled over, for seatbelt violation. Or you've heard like something stupid like, oh, 190 rounds fired or
96.
whatever. Like,
yeah.
96. Thank you. And at the end of the day, I don't care. Who cares? Like, I'm in favor of the police shoot as many rounds as you need to until you feel safe and protected.
Yeah.
Once it's on, it's on.
Yeah, and that was pretty obvious, right? That
yes,
he shot. This isn't a Han versus Greedo situation. Who shot first? Like, okay, like you said, regardless of what happened to getting to this point, he was rolling the window up, down, had a gun, started shooting at the cops, and they killed him. I mean,
yes,
that's pretty cut and dry.
Very cut and dry. And I haven't seen I've seen
they wouldn't have shot less shots if it was a white person or an Asian.
No,
or something. Like 96 shots.
No,
like someone shooting at the cops. They're shooting.
They're going. And one of the cops got shot. It wasn't like fatal, but still, like, it's like, okay, you got shot. Like, that's literally why they have guns. What they do what they are supposed to do. And it's idiotic and insane if you think there's any other way to police than that. Wasn't it friggin' Biden at one point? Can't you shoot them in the leg? Like, didn't he say that like years ago? I'm pretty sure it was him. Oh, we should train them to shoot them in the leg. Like, instead of like you're trained to like shoot like center mass, right?
Yeah. And like someone gets shot in the leg can still shoot. Like if it's a shootout.
Of course. It's the stupidest thing. No, it's not the stupidest thing he's ever said. He's said way worse. But one of the stupidest things. So that whole thing is absurd. And it's no surprise that we're in April of an election year and trying to get the perfect race baiting issue to pump everybody up leading into the November election. George Floyd happened in Memorial Day, May of 2020, and Biden rode that and COVID, rode those coattails to a victory. So they're going to be looking for something like this. And this one I don't think is going to be able to stick because it's so obvious and not a racist issue. So I think this one's going to, be out of the cycle in a week or two, but they're going to keep looking and they're going to try to find one. So you have anything else to add in on this? All right, awesome. Nope. So Dexter Reed's mom, and all the other race hustlers there in Chicago that are trying to make this into something when it was a completely justifiable shooting. You guys have all earned yourselves one big, fat, classic.
Come on, man.
And that'll do it for today's show. Thank you guys for joining us. Like we said, don't forget, next Thursday, 9 o'clock Eastern time, join us for a live stream of the Right and Wrong Show. We're going to try and bring our A game. Juice is going to be coming off of a victory. We'll be riding high. Hopefully the Bruins will be up 3-0 on the Toronto Maple Leafs by that time. And we'll be able to talk about that and much, much more. So until Thursday, thanks for having us.
The Right and Wrong Show is produced by Juice. Executive producer, Juice. Audio mixer is Juice. Hair by Skull Shavers. Wardrobe and makeup by Ashley Ruka. Right and Wrong song created by Juice. The Right and Wrong Show is copyright 2022 from Brian Ruka.